Now that we're nearly a month into the playoffs, I wanted to talk about some of the standout players so far in the postseason, both good and bad. Starting off with a good standout, I have Tobias Harris. Going into the playoffs, I was really worried about how much help Cade Cunningham was going to receive from his teammates, and while Jalen Duren has been massively disappointing thus far, Tobias Harris has more than stepped up to the plate for Detroit. Harris has filled the second option role quite well for the Pistons, averaging more than 21 points and 8 rebounds per game. His ability to create his own shot, specifically on post-ups, is so valuable for the Pistons as it can give Cade a break after exerting so much effort on both ends of the court. He's also been solid on defense as well, with an 88th percentile steal rate and 78th percentile block rate for his position. Without Tobias stepping up big time to be Detroit's second best player in the playoffs, the Pistons would have already been sent home in round one and would have been one of the most disappointing one seeds in NBA history. My first bad standout is James Harden. Harden is perhaps the most infamous playoff dropper in NBA history, but he's reached new levels this year as his age is really catching up to him. He's still a really good regular season player, but now that the playoffs have come around and teams are more talented defensively and allowed to be more physical, he's had a really tough time so far these playoffs. He's averaging less than 20 points per game so far this postseason and has the worst assist-to-turnover ratio of his playoff career, as he's putting up only 6 assists per game and averaging nearly 5 turnovers per game. His age has also been displayed on defense, most exemplified in Game 2 against Detroit, where the Pistons shot 7 of 7 on drives defended by him, which is the first time that's ever happened in the player tracking era, which began in 2014. My next good standout is Scottie Barnes. This year we got our first opportunity to see what a Scottie Barnes-led team would look like, and how he'd perform in that role. And matched up against the man picked before him in the 2021 draft in Evan Mobley, Scottie showed out in the series to say the least, averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, and nearly 3 stocks per game, doing so on an impressive 61% true shooting. As a Scottie Barnes fan, even I had some questions about how he would look as a first option, but he showed that he's certainly capable of being one. And if not a number one option, he could perhaps be the best second option in the entire league if he was paired with a better offensive star than Brandon Ingram. Scottie's two-way impact was displayed by the fact the Raptors were more than 6 points better per 100 possessions in the playoffs when he was on the court compared to off. My second bad standout is Jalen Duren. Duren was one of the most improved players this year in the regular season and was a first-time All-Star, finishing the year averaging 20 points and 11 rebounds per game, while leading the NBA in true shooting percentage. Unfortunately for the Pistons, and the future of Duren's bank account, Jalen has been the single most disappointing player in the playoffs this year in my opinion. In the playoffs, Duren is averaging just half the points per game compared to the regular season, with just 10 per game, and on a true shooting percentage well under average for all players, let alone the center position. He was supposed to be Cade Cunningham's sidekick in these playoffs, but instead, he's been their fourth best player behind Ausar Thompson and Tobias Harris. My next good standout is LeBron James. Nobody in the NBA community had any expectations for LeBron or the Lakers coming into the playoffs since LA had no Luka and no Austin Reeves for most of the first round series. But 41-year-old LeBron came out and put up stats that many superstars 10 years younger than him would love to have in a playoff run, as he averaged 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, with solid scoring efficiency despite playing 2 of the 4 best-rated defensive teams from the regular season. These may not seem like crazy numbers, but the fact that a 41-year-old played like an All-NBA player against 2 elite defenses in playoff conditions is extremely impressive. My next bad standout is Nikola Jokic. Going into the playoffs, there was still an argument for Jokic to be considered the best player in the world, but after the Nuggets' first-round loss against the Wolves, he no longer has any argument. In the past, Jokic has consistently kept up with his regular season averages and efficiency in the playoffs, but this year, Rudy Gobert dampened his effectiveness to say the least. Jokic averaged less points and less assists per game, while averaging more turnovers per game. The worst part of Jokic's playoffs, though, was his sharp drop in scoring efficiency. In the regular season, Jokic had a true shooting percentage of 67, but in the playoffs, his true shooting percentage dropped all the way to a putrid 54. He was also given a golden opportunity to win the series, as the underdog Wolves sustained a multitude of injuries, including their best player being injured for half the series, but Jokic couldn't even force a Game 7 before losing the series. My fourth good standout is OG Anunoby. OG has cemented himself in the top tier of players who have never been an all-star, and is perhaps the best of that bunch in the league. He's the ultimate third best player for any championship contending team, since he's elite two-way wing who can play within a system, while also being capable of taking over a game offensively. So far in this year's playoffs, OG has put up some absurd numbers, averaging more than 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 stocks per game, on a league best 76% true shooting. His unreal play on both sides of the ball has led to him being one of the most valuable players in the playoffs, and it's been evident, as when he's on the court, the Knicks have a net rating of better than 21 points per 100 possessions. The next bad standout is Deni Avdija. Like Jalen Duren, Deni was one of the most improved players in the regular season, but his level of play decreased sharply in the playoffs. Avdija's per-game averages dropped across the board as he put up less points, rebounds, assists, and steals per game. In addition, his true shooting percentage dropped by 4%, going from above league average in the regular season to below league average in the playoffs. And perhaps the worst aspect of his playoff run was his subpar assist-to-turnover ratio, as he averaged less than 5 assists per game while averaging 3.5 turnovers per game. Avdija's unsophisticated style of play where he just goes full bore ahead at the rim works much better in the regular season and is much harder to sustain in a playoff environment. My next good standout is Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels has been spectacular for Minnesota in the playoffs this year, exhibiting high-level play on both offense and defense during this run. Jaden's ability to handle the ball and create shots for himself while also stifling Jamal Murray in the first round against the Nuggets was invaluable with all the injuries to Minnesota, and his 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game with great defense is one of the biggest reasons that the Wolves were able to upset the Nuggets in round 1 and take multiple games from San Antonio despite being sizable underdogs. My next bad standout is Jalen Johnson. Johnson has been a really good player for a couple years now, and in the regular season he took another leap and took over as the first option in the absence of Trae Young during his injury and then after being traded. Johnson's 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists per game landed him in the top 5 in those combined stats per game in the NBA, but in the playoffs, he was stymied by the Knicks' wing defenders, and his averages suffered, dropping to just 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, with a 3% decrease in true shooting percentage. Similarly to Deni Avdija, Jalen Johnson would benefit greatly from a reliable mid-range shot, which would allow him to diversify his scoring opportunities. My next good standout is Collin Murray-Boyles. CMB was one of the best rookies in the regular season, and he only looked better in the playoffs as his defensive playmaking and versatility really shone in the Raptors series against the Cavaliers. Collin used his length and defensive instincts well against Cleveland, forcing players into tough shots, forcing turnovers, and collecting blocks against all types of players. His ability to disrupt offensive players on the perimeter is elite for a center, as he ranked in the 95th percentile in steal rate and the 100th percentile for deflections per 100 possessions among all centers in the playoffs. He also played very well on the offensive side of the ball, as he increased his scoring average in the playoffs to 14 points per game from 9 points in the regular season, doing so on nearly 70% true shooting, while also adding 2.5 assists per game from the center position. And my last bad standout is Anthony Black. The only non-star caliber disappointing player on this list, Black had broken out this year after having ample opportunity to prove himself due to Orlando's myriad of injuries during the course of the regular season, increasing his scoring average 50% from last year, up to 15 points per game. He also averaged nearly 4 assists per game in the regular season, but when asked to come off the bench in the playoffs, Black had a hard time adjusting to his role and averaged 6 less points per game than in the regular season, less than half the assists per game, and had a 7% worse true shooting percentage. I'd like to see him moved in the offseason so that he can get more opportunity, because I think he's too good to be a bench player. And saving the best for last, Ajay Mitchell has been the most impressive standout player for me during these playoffs. Earlier in the season, I said that Ajay Mitchell could possibly have a Jalen Brunson-esque career arc, where he goes from great six-man on a contender to an all-star on a different team with more opportunity. So far, that takes to be shaping up quite well, as Mitchell has been tremendous so far for OKC in his first real playoff run. In the absence of Jalen Williams, Mitchell has had a bit more opportunity to impact the game than he would have had J-Dub been healthy, and he's taken that opportunity and run with it, averaging 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. While his counting stats are nice, his impact metrics are hilariously good, as the Thunder are 28 points better per 100 possessions when AJ's on the court compared to on the bench. Good for an unthinkable net rating of 33 for the Thunder when he's on the floor.